Alrighty, everybody, welcome to our next episode of Talk the Walk. I am Bacon and Grits, your host for today. With me, we have UFL Badman, the league owner, and we have a new guest. We have Jay MMA who's joining us today for this episode. Jay, how are you?
I'm doing well. Happy to. Okay, my mic is. I'm so sorry. I
Oh
thought
no,
my
you're
mic was.
good.
thought my mic was muted. All right, I'll redo it. Yeah, I'm just happy to be here, and hopefully, I become a regular. I like watching these and seeing y'all interact and just chop it up, and I like yapping and talking. So, finally glad to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you on here. Also, good to meet you when we had our event, which we actually were going to be going over very shortly. So, for those of you that did not get to see this weekend's little Undisputed event, we had a very big content creator boxing event. Deuce Juice TV, who's one of the biggest Twitch streamers on that game, versus Prioxis, who's one of the biggest YouTube boxers on Undisputed, had a little fight to bring the community together, and it was a pretty cool event. So we're going to go ahead and kind of just recap and tell you guys about it just in case you missed it. So start off, let's go with Mr. Badman. Give us some more info for those that did not get to see.
Absolutely. So, yeah, Saturday we had a really big, we called it Creator Combat. It was pretty much thrown by the Deuce Juice and his team and the UFL. We came together and put on this big event. Jay joined us on commentary, which was a nice treat for us and for the whole community. We even had Shep from SCI come in and drop in download codes for DLC during the event, which was again a great treat. But yeah, it was very successful. One of the biggest events on Undisputed yet. And we look forward to doing a lot more of those. Jay, real quick, I just want to know, like, what did you think about the overall event and like your impressions of the creator combat concept?
First impressions, I was telling somebody this the other day because they asked me. It was really it was cool. I felt like I was a little bit too like in content creator mode, just like nitpicking like everything because I just like breaking down stuff. But I'll work on that a little bit. But outside of that, the event was amazing. I thought it was a really good fight. A few little nitpicks. Again, saw Marco Antonio Barrera, backstab jabbing, as a someone who likes Barrera, that was a little bit, it hit me, that boxing fan in me, but outside of that, man, I had fun. The trash talk between player number one and Gambo, excuse me, was really that was really funny. And just seeing, the vibe between Pride and Deuce, just trying to bring the community together. And just overall, you guys, big dubs, being on there with Bacon and it was fun. So I really enjoyed that event.
That's it. Good to hear that. Jay, I'm sorry. Badman, did you want to add anything else to that?
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, I think some people in the chat and then afterwards, I guess who maybe have watched it might have said the same thing. Like Jay was in content creator mode there, like he was trying to break it down. And if you've watched Jay's content, then that probably came as no surprise to you. But it's all good. I felt like it was all good, and it was all for the good purpose of bringing the
Yeah.
community together.
Yeah, 100%. And just like overall, I felt like, just seeing, how many people were actually watching. I wouldn't say it necessarily surprised me in a sense, but like what is it, September? So like August is like really, since then for the past like 2 weeks, the end of August till now, it's really been my first time to like, well, not 2 weeks, but but from then till now, it's really been like my first time interacting with the overall comp community and trying to support it. And given where the game is at, I guess that was really the more surprising part to see how many people still, enjoy the game and still try to, fight a certain way and just showing overall support for each other. So that I really think the UFL has a real great commodity over there, and that's something you can't replicate.
Well, I gotta say real quick, I appreciate that, Jay.
Oh man.
Going on the topic of that, are there things you think that perhaps we could do better going forward if we decide to do any more of those kinds of events. Is there anything you'd want to see more of? Anything that we could have done? Things like that, if you have anything to add, Jay.
Um, Honestly, just production. It's not the that's not. Oh, I just want to put that out there. It's not because the production is bad. Oh, Jay, think UFL production is bad. It's not because of that. It's more so because I see a lot. I watch a lot of like esports leagues, and especially coming back from what we're gonna talk about later, coming back from Vegas and seeing how that production is run, and now going into season two of this, making sure production is just like the overall best experience is probably one of the best things you can do as an esports league. Whether that be like the small things with just like motion graphics, uh having fan interaction, chat interaction, stuff like that. I really feel like, you go the extra mile with that, people notice. But honestly, outside of that, I wouldn't. I think the UFL is in a really, really, really great spot. Honestly, I would say they're probably, as far as the community, they are number one, if you personally ask me. So yeah, I don't really think they just have to change anything. Just add on to the production. It's fine, you know.
Yeah, and that's great advice and
Yeah.
something that I'm sure you know, like doing stuff like this, even like that's always kind of a work in progress. And as a content creator yourself, you could probably appreciate like always trying to improve production, do the
Yeah.
little things. And the thing that is so interesting, and it's like with the way that UFL works, we do 2 shows on Undisputed a week, live shows, and it honestly, because of that pace, it becomes like kind of difficult to put all the elements into production that you want to. But
Hmm.
I do agree with you. That is one area where we're always trying to improve, and hopefully in the future, we'll get to that like top level, and we'll keep always trying to grow.
100%, 100%. I just on that production shot, just to piggyback off you. I feel like every league should, want to do that. I was out there talking to some of the guys who were running the show in Vegas, and just the way they work and how enthusiastic they were just about those small things. I really feel like that should be taken heed with a lot of league owners, whether I'm setting an example or you with the UFL or whatever league is out there. I just really feel like setting that example, or drawing that line that this should be the standard. It's always great, but like I said, man, nothing really terrible to say about the UFL. Nothing bad to say. I don't. It was a 10 out of 10 experience for me. I legit don't have anything bad to say.
Awesome. But I'm glad to hear that everything went well for you and everyone that was on the show. It looked like all the viewers were enjoying themselves as well. And so we'll make sure to, add on top of that over time. That reminds me, since you brought it up, the Las Vegas event I heard was a big success. So if you don't mind kind of giving us your perspective, your rundown of how that event was and any little snippets that you are allowed to share, because I'm sure the fans are curious.
So every day leading up towards that, I thought the event was going to be streamed. So that was the whole thing in my mind, just making sure it's going to be streamed, and I'm probably going to be on conversation. That was literally the only two things I was worried about. We get there on Thursday, we hang out, we do what we do, get set, settled in. We get there, and we getting told that we can't live stream. Now, initially, I thought, I'm not gonna lie, and probably said this too publicly, so I'm gonna say it as well because man, I glad I was not the only one who thought this in my head. Didn't say it publicly, but I'm glad I can say it now. I honestly thought Undisputed was basically doing it to be like, we don't want our game showcase live. That was my whole thing. When I heard that, I was like, hmm. And then eventually, I talked to the guy who runs the show, Austin. Shout out to him if he ever sees this. Great guy. Talked to him and some of the guys at production. We sat down for like 10 minutes, just talking about Undisputed and just really production because that's something I'm always interested in, just like with the editing and whatnot. I'm always trying to pick, brains on stuff like that. And talking to them, they have a certain way they go about doing live events, a certain thing. They have to make sure this is ready, that is ready. They have backup mics. Something goes down, is ready to be replaced. Someone pulls out, that has to be ready. It's just like a whole lot of things to lead up to that. And with this event, it was done maybe on 2 to 3 weeks time. So that's really not enough for them to prepare. They're not comfortable with. And who am I to go into their venue and say, no, it's enough time? And honestly, Seeing the production live in effect, I would have not wanted anything else. I would have not wanted just a simple stream where you just show the fights just for the sake of streaming it. Because I really felt like all of that production would have went to waste. But outside of that, event was amazing. It was way more packed than I actually thought it was. When I say it was packed, it was like legit packed. Really great event. One thing that really just took me aback from the whole thing, even though I didn't win. Speaking on that, playing right home, I really wanted that belt. At first, I was like, yeah, I'm cool with the medal. Playing right home, I was like, man, I really wish I had that fucking belt. It started the fucking ponder on me. But seeing actual boxers like legit locked into it. I don't know if Sage brought this up. I Game Watch brought this up, but I'll bring it up. There was a moment where he was using Roy versus Fight Night's Finest. This is from what I was told from one of the PR people from Undisputed. Someone was trying to get into Roy Jones' suite at the venue, and Roy basically told him to like, I can't right now. I'm watching this fight, and it was iGame using actual Roy boxing. So stuff like that I thought was pretty cool. I saw Brian Norman Sr. there. He was pretty much locked in on the fights as well. Pretty much a lot of people, a lot of box. That was really like the most important part. I talked to Donaire, Noito Donaire, and he wants to get involved with esports. Had a really long conversation with him. So just that overall was like the most surprising thing at how like in tune they were with like or how interested they were in learning more about it. Because usually, they get invited to events like this, they really don't care about fucking video games. So to see like premier boxers actually care about that was a really big thing. And just overall, the vibes was good, bonding with all the creators and whatnot. And, I think we've grown a lot closer since then because a lot of those guys I really just only knew through like live streams and YouTube videos, specifically cold-blooded and box eye. So really just like bonding with them and just talking about life and all that. I thought that was really great for everybody. So overall, 10 out of 10. Honestly, it was like a 15 out of 10. If I'm being honest, I didn't want to leave, so it was fun.
Well,
Oh,
just the
also,
oh yeah.
also, I know you said Nuggets. I just thought about it. No, you said Nuggets. I won't say Undisputed 2 was addressed, but I will say that we were leaving, I forgot the name of the restaurant, Wahlburgers. We're leaving Wahlburgers, and like uh Ragzilla Will Kinsler, who is over like the authenticity of the fighter, so like DLC fighters, how they move, all that stuff, was telling us that they see what's happening in the Discord. They know people see that they're hiring people for Unreal Engine. Seeing my video and many other videos about it, he didn't directly say, "Yeah, we're working on Undisputed 2." He just basically said that they couldn't really talk about it. They wanted, if that time comes, they would announce it on their time, and that was pretty much it. Everything else, they were pretty much open book about, except that. But it kind of just indirectly told me that they're preparing for that. But yeah, outside of that, yeah, that's it. That's really it.
Okay. Burger, it looked like you unmuted the mic. Did you want to ask him any questions about the event? Go ahead.
I mean, you had a meeting with Ash right after the event, and there was
Hmm.
more depth in conversation on if there is going to be an undisputed two.
Hmm.
Talking about the desync, and to his knowledge, you cannot fix it at this state. And how did you feel when him talking about these things? Like, how did it make you feel at that moment at that time?
Honestly, I really didn't feel anything, to be quite honest with you. I said it at the end of the conversation, which was like way longer than what I put out. I just didn't record like the very end of it. But I told Ash like the fact that he was actually willing to sit there because we did not end that conversation until everybody questions was answered. The fact that he was willing to sit there and let us really talk about that game the way that we did, it wasn't like on no straight bashing, but that we pretty much broke down every single thing that was wrong with the game. For him to sit there and just pretty much listen to that and answer questions and not deflect, I respected that a lot. It may have some of the answers may have not been what I wanted to hear or somebody else wanted to hear, but I respected it. In terms of the desync, I kind of already figured what he said was what the real was. Um, Undisputed at its core originally was made a certain way, and then when you try to put it online and do all this, it gets fucked up. And you got to add on top of that that early access was maybe a year, and they really didn't have enough time to fix that. So you got to add that on top of trying to port it to console. I mean, I kind of figured that you're so far along trying to go back and fix something that's broken at its core. At that point you might as well make a new game, honestly, because the time it's going to take for you to rebuild that is going to be the time you're making a new game. So yeah, I pretty much not expected that answer, but when I heard it, I was like, yeah, I think we all pretty much thought that. But it was just nice to hear him actually admit it.
Because I've met him before, and he's sound very genuine as he spoke and very honest
Mhm.
of what of his. How can I say? He's very enthusiastic about what he's presenting, and he seems honest. And a lot of people don't think he is. And I've actually met him, so I don't know if you have to same feel with him.
Yeah, he was pretty honest. There was a point where we talked about casual and hardcore mode, and I straight up said I wouldn't want that. Ash was like, "Yeah, I agree. I don't want that. I don't want casual mode either. I want one set mode, which would be for hardcore boxing fans, and everyone else has to learn." So I thought that was pretty interesting to hear. Also to hear him basically like admit that the game at its core was messed up. There was another point that I really respected. Finest talked about scoring, and then Ash was like, "No, this is how scoring works." And then Finest was like, "No, it works like this, and this." And then Steve Kim actually backed up Finest and was like, "If that's the way scoring works, then yeah, that does suck." And then when Ash realized, okay, he may be wrong, he admitted that he was wrong, and then him and Finest had a conversation. So like small things like that I really thought were good. It really didn't feel like any PR answers to me. There was actually a conversation the day before that I did not record. I wish I did, but my phone was going dead, so I really couldn't record it. I was allowed to, just didn't do it.
Mm.
I may talk about it, who knows, but there was a conversation the day before with a few devs and a QA tester there, and we were talking like really getting into like the nitty gritty with some of the community problems and communication between gameplay testing and just overall what's wrong with the game. So honestly, I pretty much got an answer on everything I wanted to get an answer out of. I genuinely respected the fact that they did not shy away. That was something that honestly really surprised me. I thought they were gonna come up after the interview was over and be like, "Hey, don't post this, cut this out." Hey, SCI, love y'all. I actually did expect that though, but luckily enough, they did not do that. They basically just like sent us everything. So yeah. Overall, I came out of that with a lot more respect for SCI than I did before. Not to say that that excuses them from anything, but yeah.
The scoring. How does the scoring go about? I understand that. I still don't understand it, but can you explain that a little
So
more?
basically, what Finest was trying to say, the scoring is more so about just who throws more rather than about the three main things. So, what Steve Kim said, usually the three main things about scoring is ring generalship, how effective you are with punching, and or if you are actually landing the punching. He said something like none of that actually matters because if you're walking forward, not throwing punches, who really cares about ring generalship? Because you're walking forward and not getting hit. And Finance point was none of that is actually even in the game. It's more so just about who lands more, whether how accurate you are or not, no matter how damaging the shots are or not. And Ash actually responded with, they have different judges in the game and this and that. And Finance was like, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like every judge judges the same. And that's when Steve Kim went on that whole tangent of backing up Finance. And then Ash was like, okay, if it works that way, I'll go fix that. So I respect that.
Okay, now I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, no problem, no problem.
Yo,
Uh,
yo, Jay, I got a question about
Yeah, yeah.
so I want to ask you about a few different things in that like interview and then also
Mm-hmm,
your breakdown that you did with all the guys. But before
mm-hmm,
that, I want to circle back to the actual Vegas event. Y'all
mm-hmm.
had mentioned you played a different build of the game, or maybe even multiple different builds of the game. Can you tell us anything about that?
The build that we played on didn't have any knockdowns or knockouts on it. Simply because when we was talking about it before, I was kind of like, eh. So we were all kind of iffy on it. And then I was like, well, there is a bug right now that is like you get a flash knockout. There is a chance, not saying it was gonna happen, but there's a chance that the fighter may glitch out and fly out of the ring. I was like, if this is what you want to showcase, hey, I'm all for it. Just know I'm putting all the blame on y'all. And they were like, yeah, kind of still going back and forth. And then eventually we were like, okay, take out flash knockouts, flash knockdowns. The build overall really wasn't anything terribly different. The build that I played using Terrence Crawford did feel a little bit different. Crawford himself didn't feel different, but the overall gameplay did. But just at that event, just not having desync or anything else, it felt like a completely different game. We pretty much always like if that felt like online, I think Undisputed would be in a way better light than they are currently. So that just goes to show you how big of a problem desync actually is coming out of that. I kind of opened my eyes on that a lot on how big that is. Me and Pride was talking about it because we had played like 3 or 4 matches before the event started, and he was like just jabbing me up. And usually online when somebody jabs you, if they draw 5 jabs, maybe two are actually gonna hit you. So I'm so used to like walking forward and being like, okay, somebody's jabbing, I really don't care about that. But when he was jabbing, it was like every jab was like landing. So it's like, okay, now I have to be mindful of this. And we was talking about that, and it was like, if online was like this, we talking about a whole nother ball game. Leagues feel different, online fights did feel different. So yeah, that bill was that bill was tough. I like that. It was tough.
Do you think the build y'all played was that championship edition?
No, no, that wasn't champion. We didn't play anything championship edition outside of Terrence Crawford. Um, I did see his stats. I'm sure those are not gonna change. I'll probably post that or something or give that to y'all if y'all want to put that in the video. But I don't know as far as unique animations. He didn't feel different, given we were playing this before the actual fight, so they met. That might actually change. Ash did hint at a few new features. Hopefully, I am hoping that these new features are not just baby 5 minuscule changes. After that event, I'm kind of getting a little bit curious as to what those are in a good and bad way. But the Crawford itself, it didn't really feel different. But seeing, Crawford with the braids and everything, it did feel good. I'm getting the insinuation that he is gonna have a new kit because I that was like the first thing I asked about. I was like, is he getting a new kit? And they made a joke. They was like, what kit do you want, CJ? And I told them what kit, and they just laughed. We all just had a laugh. So I kind of know what that means, that he's probably gonna get the kit that I mentioned. So yeah, outside of that we really didn't touch anything championship edition.
It seems like they're kind of keeping that hush hush, I think. I have a theory on it. For those of you guys that have, played any of like the Street Fighters or the World Combats, there's a time where they release like, really big updates or really big patches for the characters and such. And so Street Fighter, for example, they had 3 different editions of 4. They had Super, then Arcade, then Ultra, and then each of those patches were a completely different kind of game. The characters
Mhm.
still functioned, but what they were able to do with each update was fundamentally different. So some characters were better than others. Some had different combos, different ways of movement, using their, how they use their stuff. It was all different. So I want to say Championship Edition is something possibly similar to those lines, but again, they've been keeping real quiet about it. So I think it might be something different. I hope so. Like you said, for the new features, I hope their gameplay and nothing like really small.
Yes.
As career was cool, but I feel like we do need some more gameplay things to really make the game feel more fun and more exciting to play and things like that if they're listening. Something you touched up on, I think I wanted to ask a question about, I think with Steve Kim. I think there was something brought up about the boxers in terms of how they're put into the game or how they're approached. For those that always say, hey, put this character in the game, or hey, put this boxer in the game. For those that didn't watch the video, could you go over like a little bit of what they talked about if you remember, Jay?
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Jose, who is pretty much like part owner. I think he actually handles the contract side of that. Really, really cool guy. So shout out to him. So with the ways it would explain that the way it goes, Steve Kim goes to the manager, they negotiate something, then Steve sends it to Mr. Jose. Mr. Jose gets a contract, and then they sign somebody. Usually in the early process though, it was like some fighters were like they're not EA Sports, so they weren't really sure. Most managers was trying to do like a bundle deal. Well, if you get, for example, you get Lomachenko, you gotta get the 10 people who he spars with in the game as well. So stuff like that. Some people wanted part ownership, like they wanted a percentage in like actual SCI, so that wasn't gonna happen. And then he brought up the case of Triple G. He said Triple G was probably one of the hardest, is the hardest currently right now that they're still trying to get, which I thought was pretty funny because literally like a day before, I believe like something was leaked in terms of like voice lines for Triple G. So that just lets me
Hmm.
know Triple G is probably not going to be in this game anytime soon.
Yeah.
He said like Triple G early on he was with a different agency or a different manager, and negotiations were going really well. They were getting close, and then he switches managers, and then the manager has just like been a pain in the ass since. So like they're basically back at square one with that. And there's just a lot of fighters that are like that. I know Game, we talked about how much DLC should cost him or whatever.
Mm.
Someone brought up a game you watch brought up playing Mike Tyson for $30 or $60. I'm not paying. Listen, I don't care how much money in the world I get. I'm not paying $60 for a virtual character. But we were talking about that. We're talking about Floyd or whatever. Ash, he was kind of like he didn't say that they didn't negotiate with Floyd, but it was kind of like the pricing. It's just like it's hard. It's harder than they think. And something that Steve Kim mentioned that I thought was really interesting, and it kind of basically confirmed with some other stuff that I know. Um, Fight Night is not coming back. Something that he harped on was the reason why Fight Night isn't coming back. EA just decided to go with the UFC series was the difficulty of signing boxers, just dealing with a lot of these guys. And, he was like, EA just really does not and did not want to deal with it. And that's more than likely why we're never getting a video game. And they got to add on the fact that they just signed Ali until like 2037.
2037? Yeah.
They got Terrence Crawford until 2034. They got Usyk until 2034. And who knows how many else exclusive deals that they signed. Is it really worth the risk to even try to do a fight night? We all know EA does not like competition as is. So, yeah. I thought that was one of I would say probably third or fourth like bits of that interview, of that whole interview, that I thoroughly enjoyed. Like just getting insight on stuff like that. I really like that one.
So no, that's really cool. As I thought, it's really difficult to get people in the game because there's so much more behind the scenes that you don't really get to see. I don't know if this was asked or just to kind of put it out there, but is there a possibility that there was any fighter or boxer that maybe just wanted to be in the game for the sake of being in the game without having to deal with any of the contracts, or is it always kind of an agency thing?
I forgot what Boxer Todd said. I believe it was Chocolatito, Roman Gonzalez. I'm not sure though. It could have been somebody else, but I think it was Chocolatito.
That's
Trying
cool.
to remember. I think it was somebody though, but the way the story was explained was that he basically reached out to him and the family, trying to get them into the game, and basically like they just started, like they just broke down crying, like literally just broke down crying because they were like in the game. Um, and the money that they were getting with it, obviously, I would assume that's why they bundle a lot of these fighters in, because the lesser known fighters can get paid just as much. Well,
Hmm.
not just as much, but better than what they usually would. So he was like, they were just extremely happy about just being in the game in general. So that right there was like, whoa, that was pretty crazy. Yeah, that was a crazy one.
Yeah. Burger Man, does it give a question?
How do you feel about EA being bought out? I don't know if you heard about that news yet.
Oh.
Um, I really don't have any like. I mean, it's a lot of things. One, what games are those actually going to affect? Because the people who did buy them out are directly heavily involved with Saudi and soccer, football, whatever you want to call it. Is that only going to affect FIFA? And if you don't know, the same studio that makes FIFA made Fight Night and they make UFC. So is it going to affect that just that studio alone? Is it going to affect all EA studios? EA was in debt, so that was one of the biggest reasons why they even went private, so they can make more money trying to pay off that debt as is. Um, Overall, I don't. It's not gonna surprise me when EA decides to spike up the prices of everything on DLC and cosmetics. They've been doing it for years. It's really not gonna surprise me. That's why when people are like they want a new Fight Night, it just baffles me because like we're in a predicament now where, and I'm not excusing SEI because they definitely deserve a lot of criticism that they do get is fair criticism. Not saying they deserve hate, but it's legit fair
Mm,
criticism.
yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah, there's a difference. And but man, a lot of those people like EA come save us and they keep Undisputed keeps releasing DLC and robbing us. And I'm like, dog, y'all just don't know, man. EA is probably gonna do it 10 times worse, man. So I just think with that, it's gonna be tough. I do not think we're getting a boxing game out of that though. I know people are probably gonna see the Saudis bought them out, and that means we're getting Fight Night. Dude, I promise you, we're not getting a Fight Night. I'm telling you, we're not getting a Fight Night.
That's done over. I feel like I'm
Yeah,
take it over.
Yeah,
yeah,
because I think they talked about, I want to say Turkey even said somewhere at some point that I think he is working on an original boxing game and he got
yeah,
like, I think a Street Fighter dev and I
yeah.
think
The
somebody.
actual creator of Street Fighter.
Yeah. So I was
Yeah,
like,
so
whoa, what kind of original boxing game is he making? So there's
yeah.
definitely something cooking, but I'm sure when they have more details on that, they'll, let everybody know. But no,
100%.
the boxing stuff is very, very difficult, which kind of brought me up to the whole EA thing. Some people were talking about how, UFC 6 is supposed to be a thing sometime soon, but them getting bought out, that might actually kind of affect that. But again, we'll see. It's just pure speculation right now with that. Um, Things regarding the boxing event, I'm trying to think. There was something else I think you mentioned that I wanted to talk about, but I think I kind of forgot. So, Badman, while I try to remember, is there anything that you wanted to
Yeah,
add on?
yeah, for sure. So, we was talking about Championship Edition a little bit, and y'all both had said like you really hope it's something of substance and features doesn't mean like a couple robes and like a kit for just Crawford. My thing is like it's coming out in 20 days.
Hmm.
Like what is it? What is it? And how do they expect people to buy it if they don't say what it is? I'm assuming we'll get like some kind of announcement soon, but like this is my thing. Like, I applaud them for having the conversation to sit down with y'all, with all those creators. It's been the whole entire life cycle of the game, and they've never, ever, ever done that. The only real conversation that they had that was like public facing was through this show. Sean Porter had an interview with Ash, and that's essentially all. Um, so I feel like yeah, we should give them credit for like having that, but they need to be interacting with the community in that way a little bit more. And this is that was a great time to be like, hey, here's what it is. Or, maybe in the next week or so they could like drop some little hints. But I just feel like, what is it? And how do you expect people to buy it unless you tell them what it is?
Yeah,
Right.
that was one of the things that we actually brought up in that conversation that I mentioned that wasn't recorded. Um, I said it, Juice said it, Prize said it. I mean, we pretty much all said it, just in our own different ways. I said it in a way that was a little bit more uncensored. I basically told them to drop their nuts. I just feel like with like the communication, it's like it was cool that they're doing this. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed the conversation, and it's definitely gonna give the community something to go off of, give a lot of
Hmm.
people answers, help some people sleep at night. But just even then, like that communication line between the community and the company is severely broken. And something that I mentioned, you don't want it to be to where only the content creators just have a pipeline straight to the community. I was talking with Ash and just Will and just the rest of the team about the early ESBC days. We had a really long conversation about that. Cause that's actually like I was making videos on that before I even had like 10 subs. I was making videos on ESBC like when it like first like got on, not when it first got on the scene, but when it's relatively new. We're just talking about the reason why people even gravitated towards this company to begin with, because they were like they were having conversations like we saw in Vegas, like sitting down and talking to people. Ash being in the Discord during the betas. I remember that I was talking to him about that. We had a laugh about that, Rax, Will Kinsler, answering questions and just being active in Discord, just answering people's questions, just keeping up that line of communication, even when, there was a point during ESBC, they went 9 months straight, no type of news whatsoever. I remember that. Honestly, one of the worst periods, not only as a content creator, but as a fan of that game, 9 months of no news really hurt. But when they came back, it was like they came back with something and they were willing to answer each and every question. So I was telling them like the way you're moving, you can't move like this anymore. Like trying to like rebuild trust, like it's cool, but now the action speaks louder than the word. And I feel like hopefully they understand that. Um, I really feel like we all got that point across. We talked about some things with testing as well. That's kind of we're taking a few steps back a little bit during that boycott that we had. It was mainly about that, just how things going behind the scenes. And the reason I even came back to making content in the first place, because that actually did work and change. I want people to go, "Oh, it didn't, nothing changed with the game." And no, that shit actually did work a lot. Can't get into specifics, NDA. Sorry. I didn't have an NDA for this trip, by the way. So that's why I'm like talking about everything. But with that, it was just so much going on. Pretty much what's happening, what people are seeing now was happening November 2024 on a 10 times worse scale. It was legit bad. If it gets bad to the point to where 10 of the main content creators are like, we're gonna stop posting on this game, and the other content creators are seeing it and like, we're gonna do the same thing as well. That's terrible communication. So
Hmm.
I think they got the point. What I got from everything though, just to wrap it up, I know I'm yapping a little bit, but just to wrap that up, it seems like they're done with Undisputed. If you honestly ask me, it seems like they're just ready to move on and try to make an actual real boxing game.
You
So
know,
yeah, that's what it sounds like.
I can understand that. It's something that we talked about a long time ago. Like, the community is a big thing. And when it comes
Mhm.
to games and gamers as well, the last thing you don't want to do is hurt the trust of those gamers, because going forward, if they make any decisions, like any massive decisions that could, impact us, it's going to really make or break people who want to either, do we trust what they do next? Do we really want to get the next game based on what they've done so far? ATC, life goes on and things like that. But, moral of the story is that if they had more communication, in my humble opinion, at the get-go, even when things were ugly, I think people would still be okay. Because at the end of the
100%.
day, you at least let us know, hey, such and such is going wrong. If there's anything that we can do to, help you guys just get through this while we figure this out, we'll be there. But just keep us in the loop. That's all we ask. I know there's some pretty rowdy people in the Discord, but we all care about this game. It's the first boxing game in God knows how long, and not to mention it's the first one of its kind to be on PC and other platforms, and the potential to be cross-play too. UFC has not done this, which is kind of crazy, but it's a big deal. We like this game, we like boxing, we care about the community, we want the community to grow, and we want the game to be good. So I think I speak for everybody when I say that. But no, I do appreciate you talking about the event. It's crazy that you guys got to do that, and I hope that they will do more of that in the future. I feel like that alone will allow them to kind of really understand where we're all coming from, even if it's just through the lenses of the content creators at that time. Those of us who, watch your content will be able to pass that stuff along, and they'll really be able to hopefully get the bigger picture. Going forward, yeah, I hope they do more with that. Badman, Burger, did you got
Yeah.
something to add on?
So we mentioned Undisputed too, and we've said that we've mentioned it a few times in this conversation so far. So I feel like there's probably no way that that's coming out any less than like 2 years, maybe even more. And so what I really want to see happen is like this communication piece for sure, but like we can't just leave where we're at now and leave it how it is and then jump 2 years down the road and expect this community is still going to be here and there's still going to be an audience
100%.
hungry,
Yeah.
yeah, to buy the game. Like you're going to lose your audience at that point. So that has me thinking about a couple things. Like when the game first dropped, I'm talking like where we had a few days to play from like early beta and then beta 2. um I remember there was like a month with the early edition of the game where I would get up at like 4 in the morning. I'll play for like an hour or two, and then I'll go to the gym and then go to work. And what got me, I've been playing boxing games, fighting games for my whole life, all the UFCs, every fight night. Ready to Rumble, if y'all ever played that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So bro, what really got me was like the little technique stuff in this game. Like when I first felt it, I was like, oh, you can't just pick up this game and be good at it. Like you have to like figure out that skill ceiling. And it was like the footwork was just, it was like no other like
Phenomenal.
fighting game like this before.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it was so good
Hmm.
before. And the angles with your punches and how you would have to have the right distance or your punch would get like, it would get like it wouldn't hit right. It would get like kind of like ruined in their guard or in their body or whatever if you were too close to them.
Right.
So it would get like smothered, right? That's the word I'm looking for.
Mhm.
Um, so I say that to say they made certain design choices to get away from that before, and they could say it's desync or whatever. I believe that to an extent, but like some of it is like, no, that was a design choice you made to appease a casual audience that they thought in their head for some reason that they were gonna like sell the game to. My opinion, you would have sold 1.2, 1.5,
No matter what.
1.7, whatever,
No matter what.
no
Just
matter what.
because of the
No
nature of
matter
the game
what.
itself. Yeah.
it
Right.
it it wasn't because of this make believe like hypothetical casual audience. Like a casual audience might pick it up. You might get like a little bit more sale from that, but they're in and out. You're like actual boxing fan who plays this game, who watched the show, who buys the DLC. That's who you need to tap into, and that's who would appreciate like all that technique in the game. I pray with this next one and even steps in they take in this current build, like give us a technique ceiling, give us a skill gap, give us like some of those elements back that like is actual boxing and what it used to be. It used to have it, so it's not like it they can't do it, they could do it.
You know what's gonna
So
happen? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you short.
no, go ahead.
They're gonna give us one of those older bills and put it in the next one and say this is undisputed too. Watch. They're gonna go to one of the old bills and say, "Look, I
They're
got
gonna
it.
they're gonna call it
I got
undisputed
it."
1.5. They're gonna give us that to chew on for a second. No, but I'm just saying, like, give us because I think that would do a lot in keeping like this audience not only like engaged now, but it could grow if people saw like, oh man, like you really do gotta like put some time into this game. Like that would grip gamers' teeth into the game.
It took
So I
me
just
Yeah.
wanted to hear y'all's thoughts on that kind of thing.
It took me
Ye-
when that phase of the game was out. It took me about like 2.5 months to really be good. Like not good, but good enough to like I know what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
I missed that learning curve because it's like now you can like okay, you just cannot like you say you cannot button mash. You just cannot. You're selling for the people who love boxing. It doesn't matter if they suck. Now, give them time, let them practice, let them learn, and that's a big thing they're missing in this game. The learning part. You have to learn. You know what I mean?
Hmm. But I think that goes back to what I was mentioning before about perfect example. The Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, that exactly that. Tekken 8 had an issue where I think it was season two, not that long ago, that they were trying to find a balance between the casual players and the hardcore players. And they, gave characters certain characteristics, certain traits that might have made them seem either a little cheesier to use or just I can't counter this? Like, how do I counter that? And of course, the pros definitely came out and expressed their concerns because it's like, the casuals have things that they can play to still enjoy the game, but the pro players who are dealing with this type of thing, it's kind of taking away the competitiveness out of this game and it's making them not want to play the game. So I definitely can understand that point. It's something in those games, and that's why I came from those games. So that's why when Undisputed first came out, I was like, okay, so there really is kind of a learning curve, when there was the different sides, there was the left side and the right side. It was very jarring because if someone knew what they were doing and you didn't know how to block correctly, they'd light that side up and you'd be rocked all the time and things like that. You had to figure out how to deal with it, how to stay away, get in and get out, things like that. And at one point, they kind of felt, hey, let's just combine everything into one bar. So all of that health is now just one specific thing. That's it. It's not, right, left, body, left, right. It's not that anymore. And I think slowly and slowly, as early access was a thing, they slowly took away things that I think kind of maybe had the skill gap that people were looking for. And you can't please everybody. And I understand, I think this is an issue, especially with the fighting games. Fighting games have, in most cases, I would say, a very hard entry bar. Back in the day, they didn't really have too many tutorials and things like that. And if they did, they kind of wanted
Yep.
you to really figure things out. And
100%. Yep.
now with these newer fighting games, they're trying to make the entry level a lot more accessible for everyone. Because when you do see high level play in fighting games and competitive games, it looks great. It makes you want to learn and pick it up and play yourself. And I think Undisputed really wants to get to that point, and they're just going to have to take more time and, go back to the drawing board and do what they need to do to get to there. But, just look at those games. Look at Street Fighter, look at Mortal Kombat, look at those games and see how they kind of do it and maybe try to, I wouldn't say completely replicate it, but that would give them like a good indicator. Like Street Fighter 6, there was some controversy going on. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent. It's just this might put things more in perspective and light. Where Maximilian Dood was talking about this, they're thinking about
I know
moving.
exactly what you're about to
You
say.
know what I'm talking about too? Like, I was like,
Yeah.
no, this is not good.
This is-
It's more popular in Japan. So all those leagues in the esports, it feels like it's going to become more of a Japanese exclusive for the esports stuff. So all that stuff that used to happen here, we used to watch that stuff for free, watch high level play and all that, that might not happen anymore. Simply because it's like, okay, we're going to make a business decision. We're going to take all that and put it over there. I don't like that because those of us who might have had like an interest or wanted to be involved, you're not going to have access to that. And that whole category is going to be extremely niche and it's not going to stand out. And for those who want to make money off of it or want to make something out of it, how are you going to?
Yep.
And so that is a really big concern. And I'm pretty sure probably the Undisputed devs are probably thinking about that stuff as well. You can't appeal to everyone. You have to understand that at the end of the day, while there are people that are still going to play this game and pick it up and do things with it, the hardcore audience is going to be able to give you exactly what I think you guys are looking for, and in which case, they'll be able to see that if you were to do like an offline esports thing, and people would be attracted to that. Like Jay said, even the boxers themselves, the fact that they were interested in watching what they were doing and having some actual boxing fights, that's awesome. We
Yeah.
would like more of that. That's something I think the game could use more of. So I hope going forward, they really look into that. Because I feel like people who got to play early access, there was one small thing I think Badman knows what I'm going to talk about. The fact that we had to use Parsec, Parsec would allow you to connect to someone's computer as like a guest. And as long as the internet connection between you guys was mutual, you could actually play offline and have really good matches. I can't emphasize enough how good the game felt in early access offline. When clinching was available, when all the mechanics, the low blows, the headbutts, like people missed out on that. They don't know what that felt like.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel bad because that was the perfect time to do offline events, for maybe
Yeah.
even just to showcase it a little bit. It
Yeah.
was it was good. And if for some reason like the boxers got off axis, excuse me, all you had to do was just clinch them. It was back to normal. So it's like whatever that was, if they can find a way to get back to that and have, the content creators and other people showcase that, that would really do Undisputed wonders going into the future. So
100%.
I agree.
100%. Yeah.
Like But go ahead, Jay. Did you want to add on to that?
No, I was agreeing. Shit, you was cooking, dog. I was shit,
Like
you was good.
it's this is stuff that like I've been thinking about for a long time,
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
kills me a lot. And I really don't want to bring this up either, but I guess I'll put
Yeah.
it out there. People who make, comparisons to how people play to like the fighting games. I'm like, you guys, I don't think you guys have really played a fighting game properly to make those kinds of comments. Like they'll make comparisons to button mashing and oh, this guy definitely came from Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know anything about boxing. And I'm like, okay, you gotta separate that because there definitely is a difference between that kind of play versus high level play. That's with any game, really. So it kind of
yeah,
hurts me when those comments are made, but when you see that gameplay, it really does bring the audience in.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
so I think they could really benefit a lot from doing that kind of stuff. Whether it's, like Smash Bros, they have voting polls about, what boxers could be put in or, what characters are going to be in next. And if they can find a way to make it work, they'll find a way to make it work and then surprise us with it. It's really cool. There's just so much that they could do. Even I know people might not agree with it. Having like a little mini pass to, give us an incentive to play the other offline modes, stuff like that, like, prize fight. They could do a lot with that. Someone who gets
Yes.
like a big record or ends up getting like, top 10, ends up getting cosmetics for a certain kind of fighters. They get like a little emblem letting them know that, hey, they did one of the most hardest things in the game. Here's something to reward you for that, and vice versa. And just give us, an incentive. UFC does this. I just kind of started playing UFC 5 for the first time, and it's just, whoa, they just kind of hand out all this stuff on a silver platter. And, if you play these modes and you play these online, you get all that stuff just for continuing playing the game. I feel like Undisputed right now, it's just simply for the competitive aspect of it, but there's no longevity to it. Like I can't
Bro, they're not even
right.
resetting ranks. They're
Yeah,
not
I
even.
heard about that
Yeah, and,
too.
Jay, in y'all's talk, I think it was Diaz. Maybe he, I guess, confirmed it, or maybe all y'all confirmed it. But it's like, bro, they're not even resetting ranked.
Oh yeah, that's cooked. GG's. Yeah, they're not
Like
resetting that.
We ain't
Yeah.
getting an emblem. We not getting an
no,
emblem.
there's no real way to let somebody know, like, hey, you worked really hard for this, and so there's just a lot of things, and I'm sure that there's a lot going on behind the scenes that they can't tell us like you described, and we we're not really trying to come at them. It's like you said, we're trying to do constructive criticism in the sense that, like I said, we care about this game. We want to see you guys succeed. We want Ash to succeed. I know he's probably been going through a lot to try to get this game to work, and things might not be going his way, figuring out what's going on behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the community really listening to the feedback, like, the feedback that really matters, like the people who aren't just shouting at them to be shouting at them. We really do want this game and anything along with this going forward to succeed. I just want to like make that emphasis as much as possible. Um, so I think with that,
Oh,
I don't really
Burger, go ahead,
go ahead,
Burger.
Burger.
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to interrupt or anything like that.
No, you're good.
But this question is for GMMA. Any indication on when the season one starts for Undisputed? Like any information on that?
Dog, it's cooked. From like Batman was saying, when the question was asked, it was pretty much any indication of recent ranks, and then Ash was pretty much like they're focused on so much other stuff, like it's not happening. Personally, at this point, I honestly do not care. I like if they do reset ranks, it's like we're doing season one in like this state of the game, and then on the same hand, it's like a year later, we're still not in season one. So it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't at this point. That I mean, that's
Hmm.
the corner that they've backed themselves into. But yeah, we not getting. I don't see season one coming anytime soon.
So that there is no season one. We're gonna have to
Yeah, no, it's
probably
cooked.
it's
Yeah,
probably yeah. That's
yeah,
crazy.
it's
Anyway, I
cooked.
appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, like I think they're aware of, some of the decisions they've made, and it's like you said, it's a little too late to turn back now. So whatever decisions they make going forward, there may or may not be some backlash, but I'm sure they're probably preparing for that regardless of what happens. And
Hmm.
I think going forward, they will be a lot more open with this. I think they will try to be more hands-on with people, who really do provide them with the proper feedback to get the game going where it needs to go. That's what I think anyway.
Yep.
Um, Other than that, are there, I don't know if you can answer this question, but hmm, are they working with, I don't know if I want to ask this question actually. Uh, Influencers. Is there a possibility that we might be seeing another influencer in the game as a boxer? I don't know if you can go into that or not, if anyone asked about that.
I'm trying to remember. No, not from what I think the main fighters that were asked about Triple G, Floyd. We asked about Mike. Um, Mike McCollum was not Mike McCollum. Jerry McClendon was asked about. Um, yeah, it was like real like savant stuff. It wasn't like no influencers, but I don't see influencers being added. No, I don't see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
O- Only because, like, we have our modern day fans who watch that, so they consider you know where I'm
Yeah.
going with that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
just
yeah.
to get that out the way. Um, Other than that, Badman, is there anything that you want to add on? Anything I might have missed, maybe?
Well, I want to go over one more thing. I want to give Jay the floor. So this event in Vegas was like the culmination of the Crown, which is the creator led league that you put together. And congrats on that, by the way. That's like a great accomplishment there. And so this was kind of the culmination of your season one. So I wanted to give you the floor if you wanted to let anybody know about what you have in mind for season two.
Yeah, so by the time everybody sees this, Cat's gonna be out of the bag. So I guess I can say it now. But season two was being made literally at the same time this event was being planned. So it would be a nice segue. A lot of great stuff planned that I will be talking about. What today is, when y'all see this, it's Tuesday, so on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Um, so a lot of great stuff will be planned, but one of the main things that myself, and not only myself but Juice have really been just kind of harping home is just making sure we come in on other people's territory with this league, that we make sure we pay service to everybody. I'm not the type of person to gatekeep stuff like this, especially when there's an opportunity to make sure everyone or anyone can make a name for themselves. So I don't have no problem with putting nobody on. I try my best to put each and every person that I can, that I know that I'm cool with, to, try to put them in a better position. But with this, just making sure, like I said, the UFL is the number one league, and my goal is to be the number one league. But it's not in no terms of competition to where like I want to be number one, and then can I curse on here? I can curse, right?
I mean, you have been. So
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I have been.
You're
Okay, I
good,
don't remember.
dude.
I don't
You're
remember.
good, brother. You're
His
good.
his
You're
his
good.
passion's been coming out, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
Um, it's like I don't want to like just be like, yeah, we're number one, fuck everybody else. I don't want to be that guy because I've seen that happen before. Not gonna call anyone out. It's not even in this community, but I mean, put two and two together. I got MMA in my name, so it's pretty obvious. So I'm not. I don't want to call nobody out. So I want to mention that. But it's more so like I didn't want to do that. I've seen mistakes made, with previous other esports leagues. So I wanted to make sure this did not make the same mistakes. But I like to say this, that season two, we will be not only partnering with Undisputed, but we also be indulging and inviting and collaborating with the UFL and ESBL. There were a lot of leagues brought up. I was given a lot of leagues, man. Shout out to all those leagues. I was SBA was another league that was talked about. Obviously, I know about True Sim.
Mhm.
it was another league, Fight Factory. That was another league brought up, but I felt like ESBL. I know Ace over there. And obviously, Batman, me and him have literally, like I said, bro, never interacted a day before in our lives before the past 2 weeks. And, we had a talk and, we pretty much had the same vision for everything. I feel like we hit it off like instantly in terms of like the vision that we have for everything. So I'm glad that, these two leads were decided on. I'm happy, putting all these guys into a draft pool, trying to pick the best of the best and getting these creators, drafting their own teams live. It's gonna be really cool. That's like literally like a tip of the iceberg of what I have planned. Um, so yeah, I like everyone's excited. Everyone can't wait. I was talking to a few of the guys before I got on here, and they were saying the exact same thing. Like they can't wait. So I'm ready, man. I'm locked and loaded, man. So I'm ready to get active.
Let's say it sounds like some good things are definitely in the mix. I'm excited as well. Maybe even try to be part of it if possible. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
man. Who knows, man? Who
Who
knows, man? Listen,
knows?
I encourage with this, and I encourage everybody to sign up. I mean, why not? It's not gonna be one of those things, to where I just want to pick this person, that person, just because they have some type of name value. I do have two people in mind that I was given from some other creators that they want like at the top of the list. So I mean, we'll definitely check them out. That's still not a promise that they're gonna be in though. I want to give this a fair shot to everybody. Something that me and Batman talked about, whether it's somebody who's at the top or somebody who's trying to make a name for themselves, if they can represent it, this brand, the UFL, ESBL as a collective, because it's not just one solo thing anymore. We're all collaborating, so it reflects on everybody right
Right.
now. So if that person, reflects it over the person that has a belt, then so be it. That's the way it's gonna go. Obviously that doesn't mean just like fuck, fuck champions, fuck those guys, But
Yeah,
I'm not listen, as a content creator, bro, I know how some of these comments go at this point, so I try to make sure I cover every base.
Every
That's why, yeah,
base. Yeah.
I gotta make sure I cover every base.
But so yeah, community is very important, especially where we are right now with the game. I think that pretty much is what's making the game. People who really still enjoy the game for what it is, and people who enjoy boxing as a whole. That's pretty much what's keeping the game going, I would think. And as we get more updates, as we get more from SCI and things like that, uh, I would say there's some good looks in the future, I would say. There's probably going to be a little bit of craziness going into it, but I think I foresee some good things.
for sure,
And
for sure. I agree, and I'm gonna piggyback off what Jay said there. So, very excited for us and the partnership
All
with.
right.
There you,
All right,
yeah,
back.
let's say
I unplug my Ethernet, but just to end it off,
yeah, there he's back. He's back. Yeah,
I'm I'm really excited just to partner up with the UFL in general, especially after this past weekend. I really just like that was a really great experience for me. So I'm locked and loaded, man. Again, I'm ready.
yeah. So are we, man. I'm so super excited. And like Jay said, man, we've been talking. Like you said, it's so funny. Before was it maybe 2, 3 weeks ago, our first
Yeah.
conversation, and it's like I've talked to you quite a bit now. I feel like, yeah. I feel like, yeah, we're boys now officially. Now, so
It's
I'm
crazy how fast it
I
just
know, yeah, just it's quick, but I feel like
yeah.
when you connect on a level like this and you both kind of have like a passion and a vision that's the same and kind of bigger than maybe, I'm not gonna throw nobody under the bus, but a big vision for things. I think you just kind of
hmm
tend to connect, and
hmm
that's where we find ourselves. And so I'm very excited for our league and our guys to get able to participate. Even the ESBL guys, very excited for them to be able to participate. And yeah, I just really appreciate you doing that. And I feel like, in my opinion, it's the right thing to do with this kind of platform. Like you said, nobody wants to gatekeep, and it's like this is going to be a good thing for everyone. Everyone is going to have a chance to prove themselves, and then we get to see. It's going to be a lot of
Yeah.
fun seeing how it all plays out. A lot of storylines, a lot of stuff we're going to all be able to cover and keep track of. And man, I can't wait.
Yeah, It's gonna be fun, man. Just seeing like the creators just I've heard some of the ideas that they have for like what they're gonna do at the draft. I don't want to spoil you nothing, but some of that's gonna be pretty funny and the things that I'm really just interested to see what they cook up for videos. That's something that's really just important for me. That's what I want to make sure everyone, eats even outside of the live streams. But again, like Batman said, bro, honestly, bro, it would literally eat at me if I were to do something like this and then just not include nobody else. That'd be crazy. Like go behind Batman's back and just try to recruit players. That'd be, that's not even the type of person I am. But even if I were to do that, that wouldn't even sit right with me. So we would have crossed paths regardless. So I'm happy. Like Batman said, bro, we just hit it off instantly because we both have the same vision for
Mhm.
what we're trying to do. And he's been doing it way longer than me. This is literally my first time. This is out of my comfort zone. I keep telling people this. I'm a perfectionist, man. Everything has to be the right way at a certain point at a certain time. And with all this has been the total opposite of whatever I have in my mind. That Vegas event happened 2 weeks time.
Mhm.
This is happening 3 weeks time. Right back. I got right back home. I'm right to work on this. So
Mhm.
just trying to make it sure everything is ready for this. And I'm really, again, I'm excited to show what I have. And not me. We are excited to show what we have to offer.
Awesome. Let's say got to keep the train going. It's like the train hasn't stopped and you're just keeping
Yeah.
it going. That's
Hey,
that's
nah,
very, very
man.
Keep
cool.
going.
We stay working. We stay working. All of us do. All of us do, man.
Yeah.
Jay was on that show with us Saturday, and it was I think that night he sent me a message about the
Yeah.
season 2. It's like we just keep a lot of stuff is
He's
going
working.
on, and that's one thing that I think this community. I'm gonna say it for the UFL side, but also the greater community. We really appreciate you. I'll even shout out Pry, Deuce, like all the creators that are a part of your thing and all the creators that are in this game and people that are really trying to like level things up and create great content. Man, really appreciate you for that.
No problem. And I want to shout out some of those guys as well because I don't want to leave them in on a back burner because some of those guys actually want to part. Not only they're excited to do this, but do something with the UFL on their own. I know Juice has talked about something. I know Pride. I just literally just talked to him before I came on here. He was talking about the same exact thing. So a lot of these guys are on the same mindset of me. That's why I tell everyone I probably like when I started this, everybody was like, "Well, I wasn't this person and this person." I wouldn't change like a thing. Obviously, there's gonna be more creators than there was last season, but I'm talking about the core guys, bro. I would not change a single one, bro. When I say solid dudes, man, I mean real solid, bro. Pause. But yeah, bro. These guys, man, they pretty much think the same way I do. So I again, I'm excited. I'm ready to see the potential of this. Um, I'm just ready to execute. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really anxious for this.
Mhm.
I was trying to rush, like Batman said after the event. I was really trying to rush and do this and try to have it up Sunday. But dude, I was like 3 or 4 hours in, and I was like, bro, I don't want to rush this, dude. I'm like, my body is just like, I'm past the point of tired. Like my body just feels like so sluggish. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's not happening. But I got it done today, so we ready, man. We ready.
Let's say looking forward to seeing how that all pans out and everyone that's going to be a part of it. Like you said, the community is important and you guys, care about this community. You guys are doing this for the community and SEO will be, I'm sure, be watching over the course of time too. So that'll be awesome.
Hmm.
So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing all your announcements. I do know that Deuce, speaking of Deuce, I think he has something planned in October. So keep some announcements or keep your eye out for those announcements. I'm sure he'll talk about that on his stream when the time comes. I think he has one more event also in December, but again, he'll give you all those details as well. And yeah, just keep an eye out for the UFL, keep an eye out for JMMA and everyone on the content creation side, as I'm sure they've got a lot more announcements. Speaking of which, sounds like Batman has one. Go ahead.
One thing, real quick, I want to say it because it might be weird for Jay. Subscribe to the Crown channel.
I completely forgot about
A
that.
new yes, it's a
Completely
new
forgot
it's a
about
new YouTube channel just for the Crown League. You could search it. It might be kind of hard for it to pop up in search. I don't know if it's populating yet in the algorithm, but you could also find it through Jay's YouTube through his post. He shouted it out through a post. I'm quite
Mhm.
sure in your video tomorrow you'll have a link. If we do any kind of content around it, we'll also put a link. Make sure you subscribe to that channel because that's going to be the home for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, and like now that he brought that up, the ideas that I have for that channel is so crazy, dude. When I was listening to Bacon talk about the esports thing, I'm really tapped into it because Pride, Dark Side, Fight Night's Finest, Juice. Those guys actually play like the FG. I suck at those games, so I'm really I dislike them. But I watch Evo, Capcom Cut,
Hmm.
EWC, EWC, Esports World Cup. I watch all those. I watch all of it. So just taking those for them and see how they operate with that. I want to bring that over here. So it's gonna be a lot of long nights of editing. But I'm looking forward to, just showcasing the content that we have for that as well. So yeah, please go sub to that if you have not already.
All right. About to say you heard the fellas. They got something new cooking. And if you guys want to see what's going on in the latest and greatest, make sure to subscribe. Other than that, was there anything else that you guys wanted to make a mention of?
No, I just want to thank, everybody over here for inviting me. I am 1000% down to do something like this again or on the regular, whatever it may be. Um, and just sub to the channel, man. Sub to this channel, as well. I feel like there's something great over here. It reminds me of when I first started, we had something called the Undisputed Roundtable. Funny enough, I joke about that with Rex
Yeah.
a lot. They took that from us. I'm just putting that out there. We was first,
Hmm.
but
They
me
did, they
and
did.
him,
Yeah, I
They
used to watch.
did. They took
I used to watch it. I was like, "Oh, this looks familiar."
yeah, we we
Yeah.
we joked about that a lot out there in Vegas, but the stuff like this reminds me of that all the time. So I'm always down to do stuff like this. So I love this platform. I like it a lot and what it's doing for the community. So shout out to you guys, man.
That's I appreciate you having it on
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I appreciate you, Jay. Really appreciate you being here, man. We've gone. This might be the longest episode we ever done, man. I appreciate your time for real, for real. You got a lot going on. You got a lot going on, and I really appreciate you. So just want to say that appreciate you being here.
100%, man. Appreciate you guys.
No, no problem. And thank you all for the comments. I know Burger's not here with us, but thank you for the questions and comments that you had. Batman, thank you so much for talking about the league and everything that you do for the league as well for the show. JMMA, once again, thank you so much for being as a special guest on our show. I'm sure this will not be the last time you are here. Other than that, I think that's everything we wanted to cover today. So thank you everybody for watching. I'm sure this episode will hopefully be up in the next day or so. JMMA has, I think, a video probably coming up in the next day or so as well. So keep an eye out for that. And I believe UFL has their next tournament on Wednesday of this week. So keep that on Twitch as well. So other than that, subscribe to our channel to get more info and just to kind of keep in the loop. And we will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for tuning in. Y'all have a great evening.
Don't talk the talk if you can't walk the walk. Don't talk the talk if you can't walk the walk. Don't talk the talk if you can't walk the walk. Don't talk the talk if you can't walk the walk. Don't talk the talk if you can't walk the walk. Don't talk the talk if you can't